back in elementary school, I was a huge fan of The Simpsons, because, a huge fan of The Simpsons. Like, I was such a dork, I ended up, printing at my school a whole episode list of every single Simpsons episode ever so I could mark down which episode I actually watched. Eventually, that 12-page sheet disappeared. I don't know where it is, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway because how many episodes of Simpsons are there? Like 500, 600, whatever. At this point, there's a lot. But I didn't, and I eventually got to the point where I'm like, I gotta watch something else, and I'm like, okay, let's watch this other show that from the same creator of The Simpsons called Futurama, and I remember watching it. I remember watching it for the first time when it was one of the last episodes, and it was first run. I remember, yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, I think it was the last episode, like first time I saw a Futurama episode was the very, very last episode of the original Fox run. And eventually, I watched it and I was like, okay, I'm kind of interested in this. And at one point during the summer in elementary school, I ended up finding out about finding out on TBS Superstation that they were showing a Futurama episodes weekdays at around 2, and then afterwards is Family Guy. So I'm like, okay, this is gonna be fun, and I'm so excited about it. I got really excited about it. I'm like, oh my god, this show is actually really amazing. It's funny, it's smart, and it's satirical, and it's all the things that I some of the things I didn't get out of The Simpsons. In fact, right now, I think that Futurama is a better show than The Simpsons because it's just so smart and it actually can pull at uh, my my heartstrings like everybody else, and that's pretty much how I feel about the show because it's actually a very funny show. Like eventually, I got, and then when it started to come back, I'm like, oh my god, this is actually really amazing. It's coming back for the Comedy Central run, and I was really excited about it. And even though the quality kind of fell a little bit, like the charm was still there, but the quality fell a little bit because of Comedy Central. Like I felt like when it was on Fox, it was a lot smarter and it was a lot funnier, and the humor is a lot darker. But the Comedy Central was a bit lighter and like denser at some points. But some of the characters were still there, and it was still a funny show. And I watched all the episodes first run when it was on Comedy Central, with the exception of the very last season. I kind of drifted off of after that, and then I remember on the car ride home. I mean, on the car ride with my neighbor to work, on the radio, I heard like bad news for Futurama fans. The show has been canceled again. I'm like, no. And I'm like, then again, I did watch it online, so there wasn't much ratings. Like, Futurama was never much of a ratings juggernaut or whatever. It was never much in the terms of ratings because, but then again, it didn't really need ratings. It actually had smart writers, and it actually had a soft and better focus in terms of like jokes and storytelling and characters, and that's what it was. And so in 2014, I went to what was HMV at the time. I ended up just going to that store, and ended up just, buying the entire box set of Futurama, which used to be here, but I put it down in my basement. I could have just pulled it out here, but it's in my basement right now. And I eventually, as of last year, I've watched all the episodes of Futurama. Like, took me like a couple of days to watch the very last season, but I got into it, and yeah, I actually really enjoy like a lot of like it's a very unappreciated show, and I was talking to some people on a couple of forums about the show, and we were talking about the characters and how like there's this one person who actually said like Futurama could be set in like Ratchet and Clank because of all the possibilities that are in and all the familiarity about the characters. And yeah, I could see that. But the reason why I bought the DVD box set of Futurama was pretty much because like okay, back before I started working, like I didn't work for a year, so I went to the library and I constantly got Futurama DVDs from the library. Back when it was like the older DVD set, not the pretty much stylized DVD covers that you see now. And I miss those. I really miss those. Like I know where to get them, but I'd rather have those. I mean, the new ones are fine. They're fine for now. They're fine now, but it is what it is. But yeah, I used to just go to the library and come back with a whole bunch of DVDs and sit right here watching like the DVDs, and then eventually I just got into the commentaries. That's pretty much why I bought the DVD set, is because I wanted to listen to the commentaries. And oh my god, they are amazing. Like watching a regular episode on its own is funny and it's fun and you get really into it. But when you hear the commentary, like the commentaries with the people or behind the show, it's actually a lot more interesting. It's informative, it's funny, and you learn a lot from it, and it's actually pretty funny to the point where it's like not even distracting to the show. Like they talk about the episode, sometimes they like get off topic, but it's actually really informative, and you know a lot more, and that's what I actually ended up doing um, before I started working, just being in here, just watching the show with commentary. And my favorite like the best commentaries are the ones with the show creator, Matt Groaning, the executive producer, David X. Cohen, and at least one of the voice actors, like usually just at least one voice actor, like Billy West or John DiMaggio or Maurice LaMarche, at least one of those, and then anyone else. I'm fine with anybody else as long as it's at least Matt Groening or David X. Cohen. They are very informative and they are very funny and they just keep it at a pace. Like when you listen to their commentary, it comes out of a labor of love. Like they work so hard. Like these are very smart, very funny, very intelligent people, and they work very hard on it. And like hell, like I was like last year, I think a couple of years ago or early last year, I used to have Friday nights alone at the house. Like the house to myself. Everybody else was out, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So I just ate dinner and watched Futurama with commentary on, just to hear it out. Hell, I did it. I did it last week, and I'm gonna do it again later on because, like, listening to the commentaries is just so amazing. There's something about like commentaries out of a labor of love that just brings the best out of me or best out of people, and that's what's so important about it. Like more people should like. I know I'm talking about the show. The show itself is great, but if you really like Futurama or any show or movie, listen to the commentary. You'll appreciate it a lot more. Like I like the show Futurama enough. Like it's in my top 5 shows of all time. But listen to the commentary. Like I'm pretty sure I should put it in the top 3 because like you appreciate it a lot more because of these people and their labor of love, and that's what I want to do. Like I want to be funny and be entertaining for people and just do it out of a labor of love. It's fantastic. The feeling is amazing and it's infectious, and I actually talking about it now makes me want to just go downstairs and just watch Futurama with commentary again, because like I've been watching the same episodes like constantly with commentary because they're just so good at it. And for 30 minutes, it's like, wow, this is actually really great. And I could actually list off tidbits to a couple of friends who like Futurama, and I'm like, okay, what's about this? And I talk about it. I'm like, how do you know? It's like I listen to the commentary. Like, okay, and that's pretty much it. Like, Futurama is a very underrated but it has such a passionate cult following, and yeah, it's actually a really good show. Just honestly, just watch the show. Watch it with like if you watch the entire series and if you like the show that much, watch it with commentary. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's never boring. Just go ahead and watch it. And man, I'm just rambling. Like this is something I always wanted to get off my chest, and yeah, that's pretty much how it is. So until another video, something I do like this, a video I do like this, I will see you another time. Thank you.